Okay. I actually have to put a sign on my door with eye level. Don't come in, don't disturb.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a way to make this full screen. It's interesting. It's not down. There it is. Okay. So, desktop. All right, Brandy, so yours is going to be on the desktop. There's got to be a view that's full.
Would all just recorded this right away.
Yeah, so this is now recording.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately I'm going to have to pull, they didn't close. The PowerPoints didn't get pulled onto the share drive, so I'm going to do that as soon as we get off the computer, but now it's recording, and let's be sure it's recording. Yeah, it's recording, and you should have control. Do you want me to hand it over to you?
I have control.
Okay, then I'll.
Is there any way we can get this full screen?
Yeah, so if you scroll over to View on the toolbar, I'm pointing at the computer right now. I wish you could see this. Up at yeah. There you go, and then go down to full screen mode. Perfect.
But see, it still doesn't show full screen on my computer.
Oh, it doesn't?
No, it's only like 3/4 screen.
Oh, interesting. It's full screen for me right now.
Okay.
How about you, Twala? Is it full screen?
It looks like about 3/4.
Dang, okay. Well, hopefully it's recording based on my computer since it's the host computer. Hopefully.
I don't know.
And if not, then...
Well, what else can you see? What's on the other 3/4?
It's just my blank background screen and then the tool bar.
Oh, I see. So it's not showing you my screen. Okay, so maybe it is just recording.
Oh, so maybe if you, okay, so I think the difference maybe is that it is full screen on my screen, it's recording on my screen, but the GoToWebinar window is not full screen on both of your computers. Is that possible?
Right.
Okay.
Well, no, it's full screen on mine.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I told it to go to full screen and it goes to 3/4 screen.
The window itself, though, is full of her whole presentation.
Okay.
So it's probably recording like that.
Okay,
right.
Good.
Right. The window's full. Yep, that's correct.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just seeing how it's gonna. No, I can't use the rollie.
Oh, you know what I'm realizing, Twala? We should, or actually, Brandy, if you have control, you might want to mute both of us, because there's a truck that just drove by my window. That's pretty loud.
I didn't hear it.
Oh, good. Great. Never mind.
Okay. I'm making sure that which way I have to do this, because one time I could scroll, and it looks like this time I can't scroll because it jumps.
Are you using the arrow keys then?
Well, that's okay. So let me see that. Okay. I'll use the arrow keys. Those are much smoother, much more transition.
Okay. Sounds good.
You know, I'm not going to have the same energy as before.
That's okay. Is there something I can do? I'm dancing in my office right now.
I'm just going to say you can get up and dance.
Yeah. Whatever it takes.
Okay. So when do you want us to start?
You can start whenever you'd like. Maybe if you just want like a little moment of silence, because I'll end up editing from that point forward. Right. So anytime you want to start, it's totally up to you.
Okay. And then we'll just go right into Twala's educational, and I join in with her a little bit, and then she'll talk.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll have to pause in between, like right after we finish yours. I'm going to queue up that website, pull it down, and then, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Are you going to mute us?
What's that?
Are we muted then? Are we going to be muted?
No, we're not currently. Brandy, if you'd like to, that would be great.
You know what? Do you think we have to? Because I'm just really scared of muting someone. And
I totally understand your fear. That's totally, it's well founded.
Because I couldn't hear.
Yeah, you know. So Twala, the one thing we can do on these little Logitech headsets is if you that little box.
Oh, I'm not using that. I gave up on that.
Okay.
I mean, I can try and use Twala.
Might as well. If you just
maybe there's a phone control.
Well, there's self control. So if I'm hitting escape really quickly. So Twala. Oh, damn. Okay. So if I right click, I can just mute myself. So that might be the best option.
Okay.
So I'm just thinking if I try muting over here and I do something wrong and then we got this far. Okay, I don't hear anybody. Making me nervous. So you guys are all muted and just go from start now. Okay. So how did we start before? I was just thinking of how to start. So will Mansell's introduction be introducing us?
Yeah, so that'll remain the same.
Okay.
He'll still be the
I'm just trying to figure out
those sections will remain the same.
Okay. All right, and so as Mansell stated, I'm Brandy Toff. I'm the air quality specialist for the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe. And today we're going to talk about what is radon and why should you care? What's important about it?
Brandy, I'm going to stop you really quickly. I just want to make sure it's still recording. Okay. Sorry.
I didn't have control.
Okay, so then that's not good. Okay, now you do. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so sorry. Brandy, can you tell me about radon, please? Thanks. I'm so excited. Thank you.
Radon is odorless, colorless, toxic gas that is derived from uranium forming in the soil. And it comes up through the soil. It's a form of radiation that can attack our lung tissue. It's the number one cause of lung cancer among non-smokers. If you're smoking or you're a smoker, this increases your risk of lung cancer 4 times. There's estimated to be 21,000 deaths a year, and this point is rising. And elevated indoor levels are found in every state. I just want, these things here should grab your attention. So, like I said, radon is caused by the breakdown in the Earth's crust. It comes up, it's formulated down there, it's natural, it's all around us, but it gets trapped in our homes. So it's just coming up between the fissures and the cracks in our soil. And the amount of radon in your soil or in your area depends on your soil chemistry and a lot on geology, which varies greatly from not only state to state, county to county, but really from each house to the next. Your neighbor can be high and you could have no problem. So in the entire United States, 1 in 15 homes in the U.S. are above 4 picocuries per liter. This being said, all homes should be tested for radon, regardless of your location, what the zone map shows behind you, and what your design is, or what kind of substrate your soil is, or if your neighbor tested. You need to test your own home for finding out your own risk. And because of this, our homes operate so different. Your neighbor has a different home than you do. They operate it differently. They have different furnaces. They use their home differently, and it's because houses suck. We really put these blocks of buildings on top of the soil, and it just pulls on the earth, and it pulls that radon, soil gas, and other gases up through the soil and soil moisture also into our homes. And these are some potential entry points, and I know a couple people will talk about these more later, but just to talk about loose-fitting pipes, cracks in the substrate, open crawl spaces, concrete walls or cinder block walls coming up through plumbing, and then there's this natural stack effect in the home that brings it all up and brings it into our breathing spaces. And these are just some examples here. I won't go through all of them, but just open top block walls of concrete blocks. That's another portion that can come in. Expansion joints in concrete sometimes are put into crawl spaces and basements. All potential entry points. So radon is a lung-causing gas. Okay, well, why? Well, it's these radon decay particles that occur very quickly inside the lungs. They're inhaled deep into the lungs, and they can cause physical damage to the DNA, to each molecular system inside the lungs. Our lungs are very sensitive. And this is just talking about those decay products and how quickly they can change over from one element to another. And we have radon, and then the polonium 218 is 3 minutes. Where you see the 214 is 0.2 milliseconds. So at one point or another, you're going to be inhaling or exhaling, or in that minimal amount of time that you're inhaling or exhaling, some changeover is going to happen inside your lungs. So there is no considered safe level of radon. I know that says it in bold, but there really is no way to stress that more. There's no safe level. 9 to 12% of lung cancers are radon-induced. Not that they were helped lungs, they were induced. And the EPA recommends homes with over 4 picocuries per liter of radon in the homes to be mitigated. Now, I really want to point out this differential. This was not a health-based standard, as my research has put out. This was based on mitigation technology. How low could get the houses across the board? Could they repeat it? They could get it down to 4 picocuries per liter. However, the WHO, World Health Organization, has an action level based on health, and that action level is 2.7 picocuries per liter. We really do care about this, and with the World Health Organization and EPA all pushing mitigate your homes, test your homes, the reason being is because this is the second leading cause of lung cancer in the United States. There's such a stigma with lung cancer, and this gets overshadowed by smoking. 2,900 deaths annually are leading cause of lung cancer in non-smokers. And the health effects are because radiation is a carcinogen, is a cancer-causing agent. And most of these cancers don't occur right away. They're years after the dose. If something's been manipulated, some mechanism inside the body has been manipulated, and it doesn't show up until 10 to 40 years down the road. And there's also other things. Other than lung cancer, they're starting to attribute and do studies on links to leukemia, stomach and liver cancers, exposure during pregnancy to potential links to genetic defects and mental retardation. These are also studies, but things to look at, and if we can prevent radon in the home, we can also help prevent some of these health issues. A good point to make out is that most radon-induced lung cancer occurs below the action level for EPA, below that 4 picocuries per liter. It's all based on dose and response. Radon exposure, because there's no safe level, there's a risk to all types of lung cancer, and prevention and mitigation is the best way to reduce these risks. And there'll be definitely speakers talking about that later. And here we're talking about dose and duration. Well, the dose is the level in the home. The duration is how much time you spend in the home. If there's an elder or a child, a young child, they're in the home quite a bit. or if you're a working person, you're out of the house for 10 hours a day. You're not there all the time, but still, you have to account in your dosing duration. And also, you really have to talk about your predisposition. Were you a smoker? Are you a smoker? Are you a non-smoker, but you live with smokers? What kind of genetics are? Genetics, some people can smoke forever, of course, and never get cancer. They have good genetics. What if you have poor genetics? And here's the stigma of lung cancer I was saying before. We're talking about radon-induced lung cancer deaths there in the orange and how it's 21,000 deaths a year. We have the different types of cancers, the brain cancer, the bone cancers. Just the smoking really overshadows, and most people think when they hear of lung cancer, they think of smoking. And we really need to point out that radon is a very large portion of that. And this graphic here really shows it, that radon in homes is much, much more prevalent than carbon monoxide deaths in homes. It's hear about carbon monoxide all the time. And these two next coming graphs here, tables, just talk about, I want to point out, this is a radon level for a non-smoker at 2 picocuries. Just look there in the red, about 4 people could get lung cancer. But if you go to the radon level in smokers, this one right here at 2 picocuries, about 32 people could get lung cancer out of 1,000. This is a pretty significant increase in your risk by smoking and having radon in your home. So what do? We test, we fix, and we save a life. Every home should be tested. Testing is so easy. It doesn't require any special skills. You just have to follow a few very simple directions. It only takes a couple minutes to set. The hardest thing we have is remembering we got to send it in on time. It's really inexpensive. I mean, I buy these in bulk. They're very inexpensive. You could buy them online, but depending on $25 is really inexpensive when compared to medical treatments in $2,500,000. So test. I know Paula will go into this a little more. Adverse health effects. We are exposed in our homes and our work. Our population is aging, and we're getting increased radiation exposure due to medical-related fields, more tests and everything being done. So we got to take this out of our home. We got to take care of our homes, keep our risks down to the minimum where we can affect that. And that's what I have today. Thank you very much. Test your home.
Thank you so much, Brandy. Can you hear me?
Barely. You're like talking at the end of a football field.
I muted myself and I moved the mic bar. Okay. Man, I am a hot mess. Okay, so let's see. I'm noticing that I'm going to go ahead and download both of these right now. I'm noticing that the meeting is set to end at 9:45. So I hope it doesn't kick us off, but if it does, I'll just, you'll get another prompt. Okay. Right. So does one of you want to have the controls for this, or?
I let Paula.
Are we doing the testing or outreach?
I think, let's see. It went community education and outreach and then testing. Yeah, so the community education and outreach one, let's see. Okay. So now we can close that whole mess. Alright, that one's done. Okay. So, Twala, I'm going to give... Brandy, you voted Twala?
Yeah.
For the controls? Okay.
I mean, just because mostly it's her presentation.
Sure. Oh, yeah, okay. So feel free to... I'm going to pause the recording.